Hello, everyone. My name is Dawn Bradley, and I'm with the Maryland Department of Agriculture Cover Crop Program. I'm going to go over the spring certification and claim process for the Maryland Cover Crop Program. I will address the spring spot check requirements, as well as the process for submitting the spring claim for payment. First, here's a short summary of the process. Once the applicants have terminated their cover crop, they will begin to report those acres to the local soil conservation offices. Please enter those acres as they are reported. A spring spot check is required as part of the program, and it must be completed before final payments are issued. The applicants must be in good standing with the Maryland Nutrient Management Program, as well as MAX and the Maryland Ag Land Preservation Program for them to receive payment. Now we will start the spring certification process by logging into the cover crop database. For training purposes, I'm using the staging website. Once logged in, either search for the applicant by name or agreement number. Once you locate the applicant, click on the blue underlined agreement number. After the agreement opens, you will need to change the status of the agreement to spring certification and add a comment like ready to certify. Now, navigate to the upper right-hand side. So we're going to open the application. We're going to navigate to the blue underlined status on the right-hand side. Click, change that to spring certification, put in a comment, ready to certify, and submit. Next, click on the Spring Certification tab and navigate to the Perform Spring Cert GIS button at the lower left-hand corner. All fields that were fall certified will show up in the table below the map. Once the map loads, there are several ways to navigate to the fields. You may enter the farm and track in the search box. So you can enter 662/762. Click on the dark number, and it will zoom to, and it will show those fields highlighted in blue. Another way you can do it is you can go to the bottom, and you can sort or choose by either track number, clicking the lines here on the right-hand side and enter a track number. And then those fields show up. You can click on one of those, zoom to, and now you're at those fields. So you can choose either way to do it, whichever is more comfortable for you. So the next thing we will do is once the fields that you want to certify are showing in the table, place a check mark to the left of the line and hit enroll, or hit it zoom to, excuse me. So we're going to back up. So we're going to say we start with this field. So we're going to click zoom to. If the applicant reported the entire field as killed down and there are no changes to the fall certified acres, hit the blue enroll button. So scroll up, blue enroll button. The attributes table loads, and there are only 2 boxes that can be populated. Everything else you see is grayed out. They are the kill down method and the date for the kill down. Select the appropriate kill down method. Harvest and cancel are options, as well as the approved termination methods. So we have numerous methods. We've got plowing, rolling, harvest, herbicide, green chopping. So we'll choose herbicide. And then you click on kill down date and a calendar pops up. You can go forward and backwards with the calendar depending on when the applicant has reported termination. So you would scroll forward if it's a harvest so that you can get to the June calendar. So we're going to say that he actually reported them today. So we're going to put today's date as the kill down and hit enroll. Be aware of the planting date when entering the kill down method. For those late planted cover crop fields, you need to choose the termination of late planted cover crop option or the termination of late planted rye and triticale option, and a date past 5/1 to generate a payment. If the applicant terminated late planted fields before 5/1, enter cancel and the actual date of termination. This will generate a zero payment. Also, if harvest is chosen as the kill down method, you can use June 1 as the harvest date. Those acres will also generate a $0 payment. Here is an example of a late planted cover crop field and what the different choices of termination will generate as far as payment. So we're going to use track 762, field 2. You'll see that the planting date was 11/8. So click and choose zoom 2. So now that field is outlined in red. If you will see that if the correct termination option is chosen, then the correct payment amount will generate. We're going to click enroll. And it says here it was rye and triticale. So we're going to select termination of late planted rye and triticale. And we're going to move forward for training purposes and say it was terminated on May 8th. And hit enroll. As fields are enrolled, you will notice they will drop to the bottom of your list so that those fields that still need to be certified are at the top of the list. So you'll see the 2 fields that we've certified so far are at the bottom. And you'll see that there's a fall rate of what the payment was worth in the fall. So now, quickly, we're just going to jump to the spring tab by clicking Return to Spring Certification. And we're just going to confirm so that you guys can see that the actual rate today, because he terminated it after May 1, is $60. Now I'm going to show you if they terminate prior to May 1. So we're going to choose that field. And since we've already enrolled it, we realized he didn't say he killed it down in May. He actually said he killed it down in April. So we're going to click Edit Enroll. We're going to change this to cancel because he killed it down before May. And we're going to go in and change our date from May 8th to April 8th and hit save. This updates the information in the table. It will also update the information on the Spring Cert tab. So we'll just look at that and the dollar value should be 0 now. You'll see it's 0. You see all of these red arrows, those are all the fields we still need to certify. So we're going to go back to perform spring certification. The next example is if an applicant reports part of a field as harvest and part as terminated, you will need to split those fields. We're going to do an example of splitting a field that is managed 2 different ways, causing the acres to be worth different payment amounts. Once you have split the field, enroll a smaller portion first. You may need to adjust the acres certified in that portion. If so, we will go through that process as well. So we're going to choose our field. I'm going to choose track 763, field 15. I'm going to check and zoom 2. And notice it's a large field. The farmer decided to harvest this side of the field. So we're going to make sure it's highlighted and we're going to click edit. Choose split. And then you want to make sure that you start outside and click through. When you get to the end, you can look and see what your division costs. So we say this side's about 19 and a half, and you click the eyeball up here beside the enroll button. And this side is about 27 and a quarter. So they said that it was about 19 acres and about 28. So we're going to say that this is close enough. We'll go to the bottom, put the green check mark, then hit save. It asks if you want to save your edits, say yes. So now we have field 15 is split in two pieces. So we want to enroll the smaller piece first. So that side was actually the side that he harvested. So we're going to put 6-1 and enroll. Okay, so now we have the harvest side at 19 and a half acres. And the other side still needs to be certified. Well, we realized that we misunderstood the farmer, so we need to make this one just 19 acres. So we're going to put a check mark beside it, and we're going to edit enroll and change those to just 19. So at this point, because we've hit edit enroll, we can actually edit the acres. When you do your initial enrollment, you cannot edit the acres. So we'll edit those back to just 19. And everything else is correct, and hit save. Now it will show that the computed acres, which is the outline, is 19 and a half, but your actual certified acres are 19. The thing you have to remember when you're doing splits is the total of the two halves cannot be greater than what was fall certified. Okay, so we're going to enroll this part. And this was the section that he terminated. So we're going to say plow. And it was terminated on April 2nd. Click enroll. And since we removed the half acre from the harvested, we need to add that half acre to the herbicide. Okay, so we're going to go back up here and hit edit enroll. And we're going to change 27.3 to 27.8. Let's see. Edit save. Okay. So now we're back at computed acres are 190.19 and certified acres are 190.19. Okay. So that was an example of two pieces that were managed differently. So if you have an instance where a field is has two different termination methods, but the payments would be the same. I know splitting can sometimes be a little tenuous, so if they're managed differently, but the payment's the same. So say he sprayed one side and he plowed the other part. You can certify the whole field at the same as what the one termination method was that represents the largest portion. But that's only if the payment would be the same. If you have any problems doing the splits, or if you have any problems with it accepting your changes to the acres, please give me a call, send me an email. Email's probably best. I can get that anywhere. So we want to make sure that all of the fields are certified before we move to inspection. So I'm going to go through and we're going to certify a couple fields at a time. So this whole farm was managed the same way. So I would not choose more than 3 to 5 fields at a time. 3 is probably best to enroll at a time, just because the system will be busy with others doing the enrolling, doing the splitting. So it's best if it's not bogged down, because if the connection gets too bogged down, sometimes there are issues with the saving of the data. So we're going to say all 3 of these fields were herbicide on April 10th, enroll. And we definitely want to keep in the back of our mind, all fields that were fall certified have to be addressed in the spring, whether that's with a kill down method or whether that's with cancel or harvest. You cannot leave any fields without a termination. If you leave any fields with a red triangle and you try to set it to spring inspection, you'll get an error. So we want to make sure we address all fields. We'll zoom to those, make sure they're the ones we thought they would be. So there's 1 up here and 2 down here. We're going to hit enroll. Okay, and these 3 fields were all green chop, and they were done actually on May 7th. There is no delayed termination incentive this year, so you do not have to use the biomass kill down method. Just by using the kill down date, you're telling us that it was after May. But since there is no delayed termination incentive, you do not have to use the biomass kill down method. And we have 2 fields left. As you can see, just with 3 fields, it's spinning a little on the slow side. So remember, no more than 3 fields. I'm teleworking, so it's a slightly slower connection. But so you're going to zoom to the last 2 fields. So I would make sure I wouldn't try to certify more than 3 fields at a time. So on this last one, we're going to say that these were actually rolled. They're a lagoon mix. So, and we're going to say that the rolling actually occurred May 13th. So once all fields have been certified with a kill down or a cancel or harvest code, you will then be ready to change your status to inspection. Now you also may do inspections if you wish. You may do inspections while it's in the spring certification status. But you can do it either time. You can, if you place a check mark, you can hit your green inspect field button, and you can put in the date and the name of the person that did the inspecting. So that can be done at any time. But in order to move the agreement forward, you have to put it in spring inspection for the calculation on certain pages too. The other thing you may see is there's a red exclamation mark beside the one that I changed the acres and increased the acres. This exclamation mark is just a sign to the max reviewers that the acres were changed and increased from what they were calculated at. There's no problem. It just lets us know that that field was changed. So you don't have to worry about if there's a exclamation mark over here. There's nothing wrong. So we'll click on the back to spring certification button. So now we're going to go to where it says spring certification status. Click on that and change it to spring inspection with a comment. Okay, and hit submit. Okay, just a general piece of information. We will be utilizing the satellite imaging data for review of the field certified, as well as the kill down information. That's why in the beginning I asked that all fields be entered as soon as they are reported. If the district wishes to do a spot check on an agreement to speed up the payment process, they may. And that means that at least one field that was not inspected in the fall needs to be inspected in the spring. The inspection during the spring is looking for two things. One, was a cover crop present? Two, has it been terminated? In order for the districts to determine which fields were inspected in the fall, they will need to go to the Fall Certification tab and click the Perform Fall Cert GIS. So we're going to click Fall Certification. We're going to click Perform Fall Cert GIS. From there, you can see in the inspection column which fields were inspected. So you can decide while you're in this screen which field you're going to inspect for spring. Okay. Then you would go back to fall certification and then back to your spring certification tab. Now we will choose a field. Like I said, you could enter your inspections while it's still in spring certification if you happen to inspect a field while you're looking at others. Only one is required. If more are done, that is fine. So we're also going to inspect this field. So we're going, you'll see now there's no edit button. That is not active now. And you see you get a red stop sign for enroll. So all of that is locked down now because we're in inspection. The only thing you can do is inspect a field. Do not hit this button. That's why it's red. Do not hit unenroll. You don't want to unenroll fields at this point. If you realize when you go out and do your inspections that there's fields that still have the cover crop standing, that's when you would contact the MAX office. And that's when we would instruct you on the next step for checking additional fields. So we're going to enter the inspection information, again, either the name or initials. A comment is not required, but if you saw something that you thought you should report, by all means. You can put a comment in. So if you do find a problem, please contact the MAX office for additional guidance. But if there are no issues found, then go ahead and set it back to the spring certification tab. And then we will start completing section C. So now after all the inspections are complete, and again, only one is required at this time by the district, if at some point when we receive our data regarding the GIS, satellite imagery, and a problem is found, there may need to be additional spot checks done on those fields, depending on what information we receive regarding the imagery report. So keep that in mind that there may need to be additional field inspections if problems or different information is seen in those reports than what was reported by the farmer. Okay, so all of our inspections are done. So we're going to go to Create, Edit, Section C. This is the place where your farmer will sign. So we look at our fall certified acres, 594.7. We have 19 that were declared as commodity this spring. We have 575.7 that are traditional. We asked the farmer, were no nutrients applied to the acres prior to March 1? Of course, they should say yes. And you will hit, after you put your check mark in, hit save. Now, this is where the farmer would sign. You can use C, original application. Here, if the farmer's fine with it, that is why we have that terminology in our agreement so that this can be used. So we're going to click OK and save. Okay, so start page 2, section C is complete. Hit exit. Now we're going to go to create, edit, spring claim. Click that button. The form will be pre-populated with how the acres broke down as far as payments for each different bracket of acres. You'll see that some acres were worth $80, some acres were worth $70. Ryegrass was worth $40, and the legume cereal, $0 on these. And that would have been your late plant. It's actually your late planted rye and triticale. Okay, so you'll notice that the dollar amount here, $15,000. When you look up top, there's one entry right there that's over $15,000. So this amount here was their approved amount at application time. They cannot receive more than their approval amount. Okay, so this is the most they could receive. This line here shows they received a full partial payment, and then this is the balance. Okay, this is their spring payment. So if the farmer if you decide to print him a copy of his claim and he's like, well, I've got 16,000 right here, why is there only 15 showing here? You can explain to them that the amount in this box was the maximum approval, and if that is less than what these total, then that's the amount that's going to be in this box. Okay, this is also the time before anyone signs it that any co-cost share for seed tests is entered. So if the applicant did provide seed tests at fall certification time, and they're requesting co-cost share on them, first you enter the total number of seed tests that they're requesting their partial payment on. So this applicant submitted 3. And you notice that's the only place on this application, these 2 blue boxes, where any information can be changed, other than the completion date, and that auto-populates as well as the day you open the claim. So right here, we've got 3 seed tests. The amount you put here is the total they paid, seed and turf, for those 3 seed tests. So this applicant actually paid $30 a piece for those seed tests. So we put $90 and hit save. Yes. You see it's spinning. So the most they can get is $15 per seed test. So the tests were $90. 3 of them, 15 is $45. Okay. Now say he got the 3 tests and only cost him $30. They were retests of just germination. Okay, put 30 in, hit save. The maximum is 50% or $15 per test. So since his tests were only $10 a piece, he got $5 for each, $15. So the calculation for the co-cost share is 50% or $15 per test. Okay. So now that we have a seed test entered, we can go down and the applicant can sign. Again, if they're in the office, by all means, they can sign their name, or if they're fine, you've gone over everything over the phone, then you can enter SOA for the applicant's signature and hit save. Okay? Make sure after each signature that you hit save, and you wait for them to turn this color so that they're selectable. Okay? So now that the applicant has signed, if you are the technician that's working with them, you can go ahead and sign now as well. So click sign this application, and again, this is the technical signature. So we're going to say this is the initials WDC, and they sign and hit OK. Make sure you hit save after that signature before any other signatures are done. I know some of the districts have said that when moving applications back and forth in the office, it's very helpful for them to use the history tab and put a comment in after the inspection has been completed and after the farmer has signed the claim, because now the claim is ready for the manager. So if you'll put a comment in here, claim ready for district manager, and hit save. That'll be the comment that shows up on the main management screen. So your district manager can go in each morning and search for the initial DM or search for the full comment and know what's waiting for them to be signed. Okay, so I'm going to say that I've logged in. I'm the manager, so I see that there's one in here that says ready for DM. So I'm going to go to the spring cert. I'm going to look and make sure there's no red arrows. There's nothing that seems to be missed. I'm going to check the cert page 2, section C. Everything appears to be correct here. So I'm going to exit there. I'm going to go to the claim. I'm going to confirm that when the other signatures were placed, that they did not knock out any signatures. So it still has a green signature for the applicant, still has a green signature for the technician. So now that the manager has verified that everything looks good, everything appears to be completed, then the manager can sign. Again, the manager would want to look and make sure that an inspection was done. So it's easy enough. They would click on the Spring Cert tab, click on Perform Spring GIS. They would scroll down to the table, and yes, there were inspections completed. So it should be good to go for him to sign, or her. So we're going to go back to the claim. We're going to sign the claim. So they will go to the chairman/district manager box. They will sign. Hit OK. And then save. Okay, now the claim is all done. It didn't save the signature, so we're going to have to do it again. It could be internet connection, so let's try one more time. Okay, now we have 3 green signatures. So we're going to hit exit. The next step would be to have this status changed to submitted. Now, there's different ways that can be done. If there's a designated person in the district that kind of reviews all of these before they're sent to Max, then, you can put a comment in, ready for submission. If the manager is the one that handles that, they can go to Spring Inspection, which is the status, change that to Spring Cert Submitted, and they can put in there ready for Max. And when they hit submit, that sends it. It's like dropping it in the mail. It's now leaving the office. The office is all done with this agreement. One thing you can do when the farmer finishes his certification, if he wishes to get a copy of the claim, then more than welcome to click where it says print spring claim for payment. It will generate a PDF. And you can print that out and send that with the farmer. You can also print out the spring certification information where it shows them that they canceled, 89 acres, they harvested 19. That was the acres that were showing as zero payment on the claim form. Okay, so now that the spring cert has been submitted, this agreement is done. So the next step is move on to the next one. So if anybody has any questions, comments, or problems with any of this process, please feel free to email me, dawn.bradley@maryland.gov, and I'd be very happy to help you out. Thank you for joining in on this, and I hope that everyone has a very easy and uneventful spring certification. Thank you.